TC0BI Tom here, and we got Little Bell, Walter, and over here, I don't know if he's in the camera shot anymore, is Smokey. You leaving, Walter? Too much here? Okay. This is the fourth time I've tried to shoot this video, and I've been bothered by animals, so I thought I'd just get them all at the shot in the beginning to make sure they're all tired out. Really? You want to get down to Mrs. Crowley? Huh? Okay. What we're going to talk about today, this idea was put in my head back about Christmas time. I had a couple people come and ask me a few questions, and later on in the springtime here, a few more people. Seems like the computer sales were kind of good at Christmas time and some of the post-Christmas sales where people were getting new computers in the house for the family or for themselves. And I had one guy ask me, he said, what do we do with the old one? It's still a nice machine. I hate to go to the landfill. I said, well, how many computers you got in the house? Well, I got, excuse me, the one on the desk, and each kid has a small laptop or a pad, or iPad, I think he said, or a tablet, sometimes tablet or laptop. You know, kids had different devices. They're on Wi-Fi. I said, well, what about the wife? No, we share the one on my desk. Said, oh, you're going to let her get on your computer and see what you're doing? Okay. We talked a little bit, and he said, what you can do is copy all the files off that old machine. If you haven't got them transferred over to the new machine, you can do that, or just get a big flash drive or an external hard drive. Then what you want to do is go to Microsoft's website and do a search for Media Creation Tool. What this is, it's the ISO files or the install files for Windows 10 and 11 is available. If your machine's available to do Windows 11, you can download the install files. What I do, I put them on a flash drive and use that. I can walk around to other machines I have here at the house that come in for work. As long as they have a Windows serial number tag on them, or that serial number is embedded in the chipset, you can actually load Windows 10 back onto them. And it will do the latest version of Windows 10 that machine hardware will run. If it's able to do Windows 11, it'll prompt you that, hey, this machine will do Windows 11, you want me to continue with 10 or not? Then once you get installed, it tries to install Windows 11 on top. And it made me thinking, yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff we could talk about. We could easily talk about what I was going to call this video Home Computer Network. Then I started making a little list of all the stuff that you should run on this home computer network and realized there's a lot of stuff that are not computers that run on your network. Two of the animals got bored. One is just tired. What we got here is you get a new computer, and as you go through and do the setup on it out of the box, it'll ask you, who's going to be the primary user of the machine? Well, Tom is. That's me. Okay, so you type in your name, Tom. Then you'll ask for a password. It's optional. I'd recommend put a password in. Put in the password. And passwords are very important. And what you want to do is somehow control your passwords. Keep a list of it. Don't rely on your gray matter to keep track of your passwords. Due to the fact you get old, your memory kind of slips a little bit. You may have an off day where that memory cell does not quite accept what you think you put into it. It rejects it. And where am I? You know, you may have days like that. Try not to get in a situation that I got into when TLJ passed. Found out that she was not using her invoice software like I thought she was. She was not keeping track on her username and passwords for different websites that she uses. Go away. And really put us in an alert here where we're trying to shut down her business. I figured we probably collected 3/4 of the money that we should have collected out of all the sales she had. We knew that she sold stuff to certain people, but there was nothing written down. I talked to a couple of them, yes, and they were, yeah, we got this, this, and this, but not that. So we kind of came to a happy medium. I was just glad we got everything settled and down, but it left us in a lurch, and try not to do that to your loved ones or your survivors. So what you want to do on your password manager, it could be something as simple as a sheet of paper you have in a desk drawer that, or to a online cloud management password manager that you subscribe to, whatever you feel comfortable and whatever is secure. That's the big deal. Write it down on a piece of paper, and you have stuff in a desk drawer that's lockable, or you're able to put it into like a cache box, something you can lock that only you have access to it. That's good enough in my opinion. Also, get in the habit of once a year to change your passwords. Do you mind? You don't have to go through and change all 54 username passwords. Do a couple each month just so, and make sure you keep your list updated. And also, whatever you use, either the piece of paper or the professional password manager, let somebody else know about it. Let your spouse, one of your oldest kids, a good friend to know that, hey, in case something should happen to me, this information is here so you can help whoever, or you can close out my account and all my estate, get that settled. Because it's bad enough when you lose somebody, but when you got to go through all this stuff to get her affairs in order, it's mentally hard. I can only spend like 4 or 5 hours on Saturdays and on Sundays going through all this stuff, and I couldn't touch it during the week because I was busy with my my normal job and the headaches from that. But on the weekends it was rough. So make sure you got your passwords good and secured. Back to that brand new machine. You got everything all loaded up. You got it set up the way you want it to. Now remember, that account you created is what we call an administrator account. It is very powerful. You can do anything you want to that local machine with that account, and it will do it. If you fat finger a command line and command prompt, delete star, you'll go through and delete the C drive. No questions asked. Yes, sir, we'll do it, whatever you want. Or if you actually do a fumble click on the C drive, it can delete it. And it'll just say, that's what he wants, that's what we'll do. And you start all over. So what you want to do is, once you get the whole computer all done the way you like it, go into the control panel in the users folder, and there is a user account labeled administrator. It's normally disabled on new machines. Enable that administrator and create a password for it and put it in your little password vault. Then what you want to do is log off your account, log into the administrator account, go into that control panel user folder. Yes, big guy. And your personal account, Tom, in this example, change that from an administrator down to a standard user or just a user. Depending on the version of Windows, it could be labeled standard or just user. The reason you want to do this, again, if you're an administrator, you can easily muck up your computer, or if you get a rogue email and you accidentally click on the link and it starts downloading the information files to steal all of the information on your computer, or if you're on a website that has malware hidden in the background and it starts taking stuff off your computer, you may never know. But if you're a standard user, you don't have rights to install software, so you're going to get a prompt on the screen saying, software blah 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 would like to install itself, please give us administration username and password. Well, whoa, I'm not doing anything like that. And you can cancel out of it, and what I do then is power cycle the machine to flush out your RAM, and when it restarts up, it's going to, not install, but it's going to create a new version of Windows in that RAM. So, good way to sanitize it. Also, if, like I said, it's something that'll help you keep your data safe. Another thing you want to make sure you do is either enable Windows Defender, which is a very good malware virus protection tool, or subscribe to a commercial available virus software. Something that is updated on a regular basis and keep yourself protected. Another thing you want to do is always run Windows updates. That'll take care of Microsoft Windows. It'll also, if you have Office, it'll take care of that. Any software packages you use, before you use it, go up to the help, and usually under the help, there is a check for updates. Check updates, see if there's anything new. They release updates, A, add new features, of course, but B, to change security features. They may have found something wrong with it, and they're going to plug up that back door so that people can't get into it. You're being a real pain, Walter. You want to get down? We have our computer all up, ready to go. We have the administration account app up and running. And don't worry about going in there and make it nice and pretty. The only time you're going to be using that administrator account, is go in there and install software, uninstall software, or make changes to the computer. Then you're going to pop out and get back into your standard users, because that's where all your stuff is at. Also go in there and shut off any remote access, any remote management, because you don't need that. You don't want outside people getting into your machine. That's your machine. They don't need to be in there. The only time you should have anybody from off-site get into it is if you're working with tech support on a company, and don't wait till Microsoft calls you and says, you have a virus, let me remote it. No, Microsoft does not call you. The only time that is initiated is if you call them, and same with other software packages. Cisco does not call me and let me know that something's wrong with one of my pieces of Cisco equipment. Actually, I don't have any Cisco equipment. So you got the existing machine, the machine that you took off your desk after you got everything copied off from it. You're going to run through, do the same thing there. Create if it's for the wife or for one of the kids, or if you're going to have it into the your entertainment center. I have a small computer in there. That's what I use to with a wireless keyboard mouse. That's how I surf the net and check YouTube out sometimes, and Facebook and Twitter. It's kind of nice to have out there. You can also stream stuff off from it. We use it a lot if I shoot video with the GoPro. I put the flash card into a adapter and plug it into that computer and watch it there and see what it looks like. Okay, we have our computers all set, ready to go. Now we got to figure out how to get the internet to them. Depending on who your internet provider is, your ISP, you're going to have some type of modem somewhere in the house. Cable modem, DSL modem. I subscribe to T-Mobile's 5G home internet. That box connects to the local cell phone tower, which is a 5G tower, converts that data from the 5G signal over to Wi-Fi. It is very fast. I checked it the other day and it was like 110 meg download and 25 meg upload, so real good. Also on the back of that device are two RJ45 jacks. Now your modem right now probably has an Ethernet cable that runs from that modem up to your existing computer. If you're lucky enough and you got a good ISP, they may be also leasing or sold you a router. What a router is just a dumb computer in a small box. Traffic goes in, it examines the traffic, and if it sees something it doesn't like, it flicks it off, and it allows the other traffic to go through. Or you can have it set up so it's going to allow that traffic goes to that port, this traffic goes here. It's kind of gatekeeper. It sends traffic where it's supposed to be. So you're going to run a cable from the modem over to what we call the WAN, the wide area network port on the router. Now the router has 4 LAN ports, so you could actually plug the 2 computers in here. You got room for 2 more computers. What happens if you got more than 2 computers or more other devices? Then you got to use what we call a switch, which is like this. They come in different flavors. This is an 8-port switch. There's 12-port switches, 16-port switches, 24-port switches, and also they do make 48-port switches. You don't need to run out and buy a 48-port switch for your house because you may not use it all. I'd start out, first thing you want to do is sit down, take a look at it in the house, and say, okay, if I'm going to wire this, how am I going to do it? I'd recommend in your media center have 8 to 12 ports, 8 to 12 cable connections. Your TV, if you have a home satellite dish, Dish Network or DirecTV, there's probably a RJ45 connector on the back. Looks like an oversized phone jack, what these are. You plug that into the ISP feed, there's a lot more shows and movies you can actually stream off that besides what you get off the satellite. TiVos, your DVRs. You can do a lot of neat stuff with that. With my TiVos, I have one TiVo in the living room here. During the wintertime, it records all these different shows or different TV series. Then I can transfer it through the home network out to the TiVo in the camper and to poop. Yeah, I got TiVo in the camper. We're out camping, it's a cold, wet, rainy night. Instead of being able to sit around the campfire, we'll snuggle up in the camper and watch the old Nash Bridges or the old Simon & Simon series. That's stuff we were watching when we first were married and we were dating. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with those through your home network. Well, some people will say, well, I have a Wi-Fi network. Yeah, that's Wi-Fi. But my cable in the house, my Ethernet's go a heck of a lot faster than your Wi-Fi. So you can actually transfer files faster, larger files, better quality. So once we have all the switches figured out ahead what we're going to do, you kind of got a deal. What you want to do is sit down. Like I said, you're going to put 12 drops in the living room, your kitchen. I'd go 6 or 8. A lot of your new appliances are somehow internet ready. You can connect them up so you could actually check on the oven. On the way home you could tell the oven to start preheating, or the refrigerator. Some Samsung had a camera in theirs for a while. You got to see what items were in the refrigerator. My refrigerator's so packed sometimes you couldn't see the back row, but the idea was you could look at it on your phone and say, yeah, I got milk, but I need this, this, and this. I need peanut butter, I need oatmeal. Okay. Washer and dryers are becoming more this way, where you can actually have the Ethernet fed to them and do a remote start. Or you could actually, if something happened, it tripped out for whatever reason, they'll send you a text message. New furnaces, water heaters, water softeners are now becoming internet ready, where they'll send you a text message in case there's a problem, or you can actually check the level of salt in the water softener, or it can tell you need more salt. The water here can tell you how many gallons of hot water you used and how much that's costing you. There's a lot of data, a lot of stuff you can do with it. So go through bedrooms, I'd say 2 to 4. If you have like a small family room, I'd put 2 wall plates in there on each, on opposite sides of the room, 2 on each side, so you have 4 total in there. Kind of spread them out, kind of so you can make it easier to run the cabling to it. Then what you want to do is take a spreadsheet and start with 1 through whatever. I actually got 39 drops in this house, 39 connection points. They're not all being used right now. There's one underneath this tabletop that when somebody comes in with a laptop or a computer says, can you fix this for me? I can plug it into my network, see what it is, pull the information off from it, put it in storage, wipe the drive, reload Windows, move their data back on, the way we go. It just makes troubleshooting a lot easier. So what I'll do, cable 1, kitchen, TiVo in the kitchen, cable 2, kitchen, TV in kitchen, cable 3, and do that for all the rooms. Then when I have my switch downstairs, figure out how big of a switch I need, cable 1 goes to port 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. It just makes troubleshooting a lot easier. For some reason, the computer in this room doesn't seem to be connecting. You can go downstairs. I know that's coming down on cable 12. I look at position 12 on this guy, and it's not lit up, so I can actually go back and figure out, did somebody trip over the cable when they're vacuuming, or did the cat chew through it? Right, Smokey? That would never happen. So it just makes life a little easier. So there you got your 2 computers, you've got a couple TiVos, DVRs, your TV. What about Wi-Fi? Some Wi-Fi access points are like this, where you feed the Ethernet cable and you got to apply power to it. Others use what we call PoE, power over Ethernet. They take a special switch to send that voltage, it's usually like 48 volts, over to that access point to power it up. You don't need to run a power adapter to it. Walter, anybody want 2 cats? I'll make a heck of a deal. I haven't thrown a dog. So, you get your Wi-Fi's, if they're internet or power over Ethernet. Another thing that is getting popular is what we call VoIP, voice over IP. There are some manufacturers that they're mainly intended for business operations, but it's a phone system that you plug into your Ethernet. It's got to be, power over Ethernet, and that VoIP traffic, where you can have it set up so you can actually call either in the house or outside, depending on how you have it set up. That's another type of phone connection you can have in your house. We're seeing it used in the amateur radio community, Ham Shack Hotline. That started out as a way to create what we call rooms, where you have, it's like a party line, where you dial into this room and you can actually listen to severe weather reports across the country. That's become very popular, and a lot of times they'll spin up rooms for like the southeast part of the country or the northeast part of the country, or one for all the country. They can actually break that down to regions or countrywide. Another one that's been spun up here lately is hands over IP. Similar idea, but they're kind of branching off in another direction. It's not just going to be severe weather. You can do a lot of neat stuff along with the calling tree. It gives amateur radio people an extra avenue of communication. So we have our computers ready to go. We have an idea how we're going to lay out our LAN. We got some switches. We know what we're going to use. And again, some of these switches are what we call a smart switch, where they're a little more intelligent just than a normal switch. You got a small processor, and what you can do is create what we call a VLAN, or a virtual LAN. Or like a good example is all my Wi-Fi adapters feed into one switch, and the output of that switch is VLAN to the outside world. So anything that gets on a Wi-Fi connection here goes right outside. It cannot see any of my computers, any of my data, nothing. It just sees the outside world. You can do that for your cameras. If you got some security cameras, you don't need, the cameras tied in with your local computers and your local data. It just has to get outside, be able to talk to that server in the cloud, and to transfer that data. My DVRs, all the TiVos, are the same way. They're hooked onto a VLAN that goes right outside, because that's all they got to do. Because when I want to connect with the app on my phone, that app is connecting to a server in the cloud. Then from there it connects back to the DVRs. So you can have different VLANs set up. And again, on all these smart devices, you want to make sure you shut off remote access or remote management. I cannot stress that enough. And again, also run your updates. Run Windows updates. Run updates, click that little tab, check for updates on stuff. On the side of your monitor, I have a little cheat sheet set up with manufacturer model numbers of certain devices I use in the house, and every once in a while, if I think of it when I'm having my morning coffee, I'll go to that website and just see, is there a release of new firmware or a new, a patch or something like that for that device, so they're always updated. Now, they're not going to keep all their devices updated, but after 5-6 years, then they kind of forget about that model and just concentrate on the new stuff coming down. But by then, it should be fairly secure by then, so we hope. Okay, we talked about how we're going to set it up. We got our VLAN set up, our passwords are set up. We got them somehow, our passwords are secured no matter which way we do it. We turned off all the remote access. We got our admin accounts going. All our local accounts are set up for standard users. VLANs are set up on the Wi-Fi. Digital assistants. There's Alexas, you know, the Amazon Dot. We got Google Home, Siri. Again, all those are always listening to you. Hey Google. Okay, almost always. And you want to make sure, again, those are hooked up somehow on a VLAN going right outside. Most of mine, matter of fact, all of mine are hooked onto the Wi-Fi, so they go right outside. Now, the one in here, it's kind of hard. I got the washing machine running, so it's kind of death sometimes. So again, all that stuff. Your security cameras we talked about, streaming devices, your Rokus, your Apple TVs. On my home entertainment stereo, I have a couple streaming cards by Crestron. And this is kind of cool. I mean, you can dial up pretty much any radio station in the world and listen to that music. Say you have an extra computer. Everybody in the house has got a new hand-me-down computer. You got one in the entertainment system, but there's this one. It's still too good to go to the landfill. You know, hard drive prices have taken a heck of a tumble here. You can actually go out and buy a 1 terabyte external hard drive for $40, $50. Right now, I just bought a couple of 4 terabyte external hard drives for $99 each. Why? And you can do the same thing on internal. Why do you want to do that? Well, you take that computer, you re-image it, or you put a new version of Windows on that C drive, you add the second hard drive, that 4 terabyte hard drive, in as a D drive. Then you go in and start making folders for everybody who has a computer account in the house. Me, the wife, all the kids, the dog. A folder for each, folder labeled car maintenance, and in that folder be subfolder for each car. Why? Because I'll put a spreadsheet in there and put down mileage, the date, what I did to the car. Today I rotated the tires. Last week I put new spark plugs in, or got a tune-up, or you know, whatever, stuff like that. It's a nice way to keep track of what it is, what you're doing to the vehicle. I have one folder labeled manuals. Anytime we get something new in the house, I go to the manufacturer's website and download the owner's manual as a PDF. I'll check on the cars or for the service manual. You know, so I have a copy of the service manual as a PDF on file, and it's kind of handy. I broke a belt on the snowblower one time. Open up the manual to look at how that belt is wrapped around and ends up. Printed that section out, that one piece of paper, went out next to the snowblower, set that on the floor, took that belt, got okay, put it, and it's got okay. Bam, had it done. When I was done, that paper went in the recycling bin, and the snowblower was fixed. It just makes life easier if you have those manuals electronically. You can print that sheet out. If the sheet gets damaged, it's no big deal because you still have that good copy. So once you go through and create the folders, and I got one folder in there labeled important papers. I put a lot of, you know, copies or scans of the insurance for the house, titles for the cars, anything you can think of that you would need in case something should happen. In there, financial records. Again, I put a copy of that in there also. And then when you go through and set up the rights to people to access it, again, administrator should have rights to read rights to everything in that drive. Now, my folder, I have full rights to it, but none of the kids or my friends or anybody else who are members of my network, they don't even see it. They don't even have read access. Do that for all of them. For the music folder, for the photo folder, for the video folder, I set everybody up as a read only, so nobody accidentally deletes something out of there by sheer accident. You guys are being a pal. Thanks a lot. So as you go through and do all this, never ever use, you know, when you set the share up, there's one labeled everybody. You don't want to use that, because everybody means everybody. If for some reason one of your Wi-Fi adapters starts to act up a little bit and I'm driving by in the car and all of a sudden I can see an open access point and I get in there and I can see, hey, here's Bob's folders. All right, I'll open up. Bob's folders are unprotected. I can go in there and see everything there is. So never ever use everybody. Always make sure you select the members of your computer network in there. So it may take a little bit to get them on there, but they're all in there. Again, anything, any information, any data that you want access, easy access to, put it in there as a folder. Now, your external drive, what you want to do is plug that into the USB port. And what I used to do every Friday night, because the kids were usually at some school function, football game, play, basketball game, whatever, I format the external drive, then I copy everything on that data folder, data drive, and paste it onto the external drive. Right now I'm moving on Friday nights 1.3 terabytes of data, and it takes roughly 20 hours. It's a long process, but if something should happen, the kids accidentally delete a folder or delete a file or a folder off their folder, or something should happen, I can quickly go to this external drive, copy the information back over. Now, it used to, when her business was going good, I had 12 of these external drives set up. 11 were at work, 1 were here. At the end of the month, I'd take February's drive back to work, put it in the file drawer, take out March, bring March home. So that way I had immediate access to backup, and for, say, something should happen, unfortunately, earthquake, fire, tornado, snowstorm, who knows, 30 miles away are all my major backups. I could get to backup, get to that drawer where my backups are at, find a computer, get her spun up. She could actually reopen her business. Her data may be 30 days old on customers, but she had a lot of her data still there. The kids still had a lot of the records, stuff they needed for whatever. So again, a good backup plan is something you need to do. Right now I went from 12 of these external drives. These are 1 terabyte drives. I bought some 4 terabyte drives to give me room to grow. At the time I bought these, I didn't think I'd ever, run out of storage space, but over time it builds up. And again, it takes about 20 hours to do that. The 4 terabyte drives, those were Seagates, I believe, and they were $99 each. So I got 4 of those: red, white, blue, and gold. Red I used in January, white I used in February, blue I'm using right now, and next month will be gold. Then we just start back over. So we're reusing those drives more than I did at the other set, but the data I'm collecting and storing doesn't change that much, so we'll be okay. The other thing on these external storage drives, you want to stay with the rotating hard drives. You do not want to use SSDs, because over time the SSDs, the data can get, the voltage in there can decay and your data will start fading away. They don't tell you that, but that's what happens. So, okay, we talked about backups. We talked about your data drives and all that. Oh, VPN. A lot of routers, where's my router cat, have built into them what you call a VPN, a virtual portal network, VPN. What it does, it creates a tunnel that you can actually get back to the router and access your data that's on the network drives here at the house. I use it quite a bit. The kids use it quite a bit. Christy, the oldest one, took some classes here at Nyack. Then she went up, transferred up to North Dakota at Fargo. There was a class she had to take, and she said, that sounds like a class I have, but she had to take Class A, then she get into Class B and Class C. This is for, she wanted to be a high school teacher. First day in the class, yeah, same stuff we did back at Nyack, and at the end of the class, she was explaining that to the instructor, and the instructor says, well, once you bring in all your paperwork, we'll look at it, and if it is, we'll get you transferred over to that next class. Christy opened up her laptop, opened up the VPN, connected back here to the house, brought up her network drive, they're showing all the stuff, and the instructor goes, wow, this is cool. What does your dad do? Was he in IT? Did he teach IT? Because she had mentioned that I work at the college. And she just grinned and said, no, my daddy teaches HVAC. And the teacher just had the funny look on her face, and Christy goes, when she was telling me, she says, I know why you like to do that to people, Dad. It was funny. But I mean, a VPN allows only people you give permission to come into your area, and it's just like being here in the house. They can access files, they can move files, they can print stuff off, And that's the other thing you do on that computer you have downstairs set up as your file share. Hook the printers up to that, and set them up as a share, so anybody that comes in the house on their computer or their iPad or whatever, they can select that printer and print stuff off to it. So it just makes life easier. You don't have to install that print on every computer in the house, and sometimes those print drivers will fight with each other because some drivers like to have one computer in charge, and you may have a couple of computers fighting over what. You're being a pill. Oh. Again, I'll make a deal on 2 cats. Well, you just ordered a dog. Now I dropped my brains, you stupid god. Oh. Well, we've rambled on enough here, and I think we got everything covered. Again, there's a lot of neat stuff you can do with your network. Just take your time, set stuff up nice and slowly. One thing I do before I make any changes on the settings on the computers, the VPN settings, the router, even the smart switches, I take a picture of the screen with my phone. Then I go through and make the changes. If it works, I take another picture of that, and I have a folder set up that I put a copy of that picture in there. And if my changes didn't do what I wanted to, I got a picture of what it was before. I just go back on through and reset everything. So, again, down below, make some comments what you'd like to see coming up next, and we'll see what we can throw out video-wise. 7-3 everybody. Springtime here in North Iowa. Camping's coming up.
Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, other hams. Subscribe, hit that bell to get notification when new videos come out. Add comments below. 7-3 everybody.